What is up, Ducks? My name is Danny Kim, and welcome to another episode of You're Not Gonna Like Me. Today we're gonna be reviewing Twice's More and More, their ninth mini album. It's been out for a few days, and I've listened to it for a total about 20 times, and I think I can finally make a judgment on it. Now, this album has been just flying off the shelves. Twice has set the record for the first girl group to surpass 200,000 units in first day sales, and it's been charting, like crazy. Now it's in competition with Rain's Gang. Higher Music released a remix version of that, so that's pretty interesting that Gang is competing with Twice. I never would have imagined that. But anyway, it's very popular because it's obviously Twice. Now, this is the longest hiatus Twice has ever taken in their careers. It's 9 months, which is remarkably short because, hey, it's not even a year, and this is their longest hiatus. But if you think about that, they released 25 albums. 25 albums, that's including like Japanese releases, repackages. But 25 albums in freaking, I don't know how many years, but that's a lot. That's more albums than Blackpink has released in their entire careers, songs. So Twice has been working hard and they got a little bit of a rest. Well deserved, and they're back with this album. Now, this album is extra special because Mina, who had been suffering from anxiety, had been sitting on the sidelines for a while. She's been taking a rest, which is quite rare in K-pop, to be honest, and I think JYP set a very good example for that. Now she's back, and we have the full 9-member Twice again. Now, Twice has gone on record saying that this album is a little bit different from their previous albums. Taeyeon's been saying that this album is showing a more mature side of Twice, and I can definitely feel that in the entirety of the album. Meanwhile, Chio has also said that she doesn't want to abandon all the cuteness and the bubbly aspects of previous Twice songs, but at the same time, she wants to take all of that and upgrade themselves. So let's just get right into the review, shall we? First off, More and More is probably one of the weakest Twice title tracks that they've released so far. I feel like they've really tried hard to replicate the catchiness of previous Twice title tracks with the repetitive chant of more and more and more and more. But that's just not really, the glaring, the impactful centerpiece that we are used to seeing in Twice title tracks. While it is memorable, it's not necessarily musically intriguing. It's literally a chant of more and more and more and more. And compared to the previous hooks that Twice title tracks have had, it's really underwhelming for me. After the pre-chorus chants, the song goes into a full-on instrumental drop, which is essentially the chorus, and it doesn't have any vocals except for this chopped and screwed vocal sample of more, and it's definitely a little bit underwhelming. I think the instrumentals there, while it's very busy and there's a lot of sounds going on, it doesn't seem to have any clear vision or clear direction on where it's going. There's no real defining melody to it. And I feel like this seriously lacks impact considering that this is a title track for Twice. Now, if this song had a melody that they all anchored around, all these elements, I feel like it could be a much better song, but it doesn't. And I feel like I'm being a little bit harsh here, but at the same time, it's Twice. They have set the bars very high for their title tracks, and this feels a little lacking. Now, for the other tracks, I have a lot of praise for. Actually, I really enjoy the rest of the album compared to the very first track, the title track of this. And let's just start with some of the highlights. My first being Oxygen. The vocal effects, the staccato bass lines, and also the very funky synth riffs that fill in here and there. These all make this song a very, very interesting song sonically. And I just keep on discovering new elements as I listen to this song. I've been listening to it for 20 times now because I listened to the entire album 20 times. And I keep finding new elements to it. And it's a very interesting song, especially considering, More and More I found was rather a little bit uninspired. This song is a nice contrast to be the next track off of More and More. My personal favorite is Make Me Go. This is a pretty big curveball, I feel, in this album. It's probably like the 180, the very opposite of what the normal audience would think Twice would do. This music is very provocative, It's very sexy. Kind of sounds like something that maybe an American pop diva would do. I don't know, like, are you getting the same feelings as I am? And the spoken chorus that's almost feels like it's whispered to your ear. It's ASMR. This part is pure eargasm. It kind of reminds me of a previous Twice track from 2019 called Love Foolish. But this is like full on different Twice. If Twice went this direction, this would be the biggest 180 left turn that their career could take from here. And I would be all for it. And the lyrics are written by Nayeon, apparently. She wrote it in a plane while she was watching some female assassin movie. And I think she has a female assassin in her. Like, if this is a side of Nayeon that's, gonna be out there for the rest of Twice's career, then I'm all excited. Now, another track that I enjoyed, Don't Call Me Again. This song has probably the best instrumental, or at least the most memorable instrumental for me. The brass arrangements, they play simple lines, but it's very bold. And it almost feels like, this doesn't feel K-pop to me. This feels like hip-hop. I could imagine someone like Jay-Z literally rapping over this shit. It's really, really bold. And it's just really out there. I really enjoy this track. One thing though, I feel like the vocal style of Twice, I don't know if it suits this type of song very well because I don't know if it's the way it's mixed, but it lacks the oomph to penetrate through these brass lines that are repeating through the entirety of the track. But other than that, like, I just really enjoy the fact that this kind of instrumental was present in a Twice album. Now, the last song on the album, Sweet Summer Day, this track I'm not a big fan of. I feel like this album was a change of direction for Twice themselves. They were trying to transition from their existing image to maybe a more mature one, like Taeyeon said. All these songs on the album prior to this song were definitely carrying that sense of maturity to it. But then they have Sweet Summer Day as their very last track, which is filled with the typical aegyo chant that you all know Twice for. And I'm not saying this is necessarily bad, but in the context of the album and I guess what it was trying to do, it feels like they couldn't fully commit to this new mature Twice that they try to portray. So it feels kind of like they wrote a sentence, but they didn't put a period on it. And this being the last track of the album, it almost feels like, oh hey, like we're still Twice, the ones that you know and love from all these years. And I can see like fans might like this, but just in terms of the perspective of the album, it feels like they couldn't fully jump in the deep end for this album. Overall, I think this album is presenting what Twice could be in the future. And it's got a lot of different ideas. It's got a lot of different styles, but they all have the same sense and air of maturity to them. I feel like they've definitely, grown and changed, and their music's a little bit different from what we've heard in the past. And I'm very excited for it. Like, this is a transition album, I feel. They're transitioning from the Twice we know in the past to the new Twice, and I feel like they're gonna be showing vastly different musical styles in the future with a little bit of a Twice twist from now on. So while this album is not gonna be, my favorite album of all time or of this year, I've definitely gotten a lot of enjoyment out of hearing some of the tracks, and I'm very excited for what they have in store for us for the future, their roadmap. So I'm gonna give this album a 3.5 out of 5. Tell me your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you think this album was great? Do you think this album was not so great? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please like and subscribe, and also visit our Patreon, patreon.com/DKDKTV, and we'll see you guys next time.